Hello all learners, welcome to our course Methodology and GD&T approach. Now in our this session we'll be dealing with angular measuring instruments. In earlier sessions we have discussed about linear measuring devices, myself Rohit Bhaskar. So our first part important related to linear and angular measurement is accuracy. So exactly what accuracy means, it's nothing but closeness of measured value with the true value. Time being, remembrance is closeness of measured value to a standard or a true value. So accuracy can be divided as point accuracy, or we can say accuracy as a percentage of a scale, or either accuracy as a percentage of a true value. Now with similar terms, with relation of accuracy, we should also know the precision part. So what exactly precision means? So closeness of two or more measuring readings, or we can say measurements, to each other is known as precision of a reading or a substance. Now for example, if we have a wave of 5 substances and we get 3.2 kg each time, please remember 5 times reading we have taken and each time we have got 3.2 kg, then we can say that measurement is very precise, but we cannot say that it's an accurate, because we are unaware that it is whether close to the true value or not. So precision is independent of accuracy. So below example will tell you that how you can be precise but not accurate, or vice versa. So in this cases we can say this is a very good example. So if we have a position over here, center point, and if we have to mark this with the help of a bow or arrow or with a gun, so if we try to put out this, what will happen? So in first figure, if you try, we have hit first shot. So in first shot we have got our point over here near the center, and center will be our true value. Likewise second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth have scattered somewhere all over here. So we can say that it's not too accurate, that means low accuracy is there, and we can say that it's a low precise. Likewise we have in second figure, we can say that it's low accuracy and high precision. Why? Because it's not to the close to the true value, and as well, but all the readings are within the same zone. In third case, if we try, so some of the values are scattered, but instead they are very close to the true value. So high accuracy and low precision. And last case, very important, so accurate and precise, that means our target is hit close to the true value, so high accuracy and high precision. So another example which is very much similar to earlier case, so good accuracy, poor accuracy, and poor accuracy, but very good precision but poor precision. So same thing in relation with that is differentiation. So actual measurement with that level of variation, and close results we have agreement of the results over here, and with that accurate on occasion of a fluke, or either precise without being accurate. Now angular measuring instruments. So first one is a slip gauge. Slip gauge is nothing but a block of high carbon steel which is hardened and grinded, and with that we have a lap process over it. So each block will have length, width, and depth. So these blocks will have some sort of two faces with highly mirror finish. So lapping is followed over there. So this is in combination with some sort of auxiliary device we required for this. So it's available in number of combination sets, maybe a set of 112 pieces or up to 32 pieces set. So there are number of sets available. So slip gauges are high degree of surface finish and too much accuracy of up to 0.005 mm. So slip gauges may be found in square patterns, maybe for related to angle gauges we have angle. So if we consider 103 piece set, we will try to bifurcate this 103 pieces. So 19 pieces will range from 101 mm to 1.49 mm with a step of 0.1 increment. So total 19 pieces will get. Then we have 49 pieces of 0.5 to 24.5 mm in a step of 0.50 mm. Then we have 4 pieces of 25, 50, 75 and 100 mm each. Then one piece exactly with a different value as 1.05. Important over here is to understand a ringing process. Ringing process is nothing but combination of two sizes. Finally what we want is two slip gauges to get, so 6 mm block is there and 2 mm, so total dimension will be 8 mm, but directly one 2 mm block is not placed on the 6 mm block, so for that you have to follow some sort of process. So that process is nothing but ringing. So this is the property of measuring faces of a gauge block of adhering together with the help of some sort of a force. So for that we have to slide first step on that, then twist it and then position it. So this is the step which can be followed. So ringing is nothing but adhering of the two slip gauges. Now another type of angular measuring devices or different measuring instruments, we can say rulers are there, feeler gauges are there. So common ruler we usually know and you are aware. Then we have a machinist ruler which has some inches values as well on it. Then we have a steel tape. Next we have calipers. So calipers are most frequently used by engineers and machinists. So how it looks like, so it's used for transferring the dimensions, maybe for inside caliper used for internal dimension transmission, or either external dimension transmission, or to set a dimension and just transfer it. So there are a number of examples over here. And filler gauges are generally precision machine pieces of a metal that is flat or round. So likewise flat plates we can say, and few of the graduations are provided on these plates. So what are these plates? Usually filler gauges is used to measure the gaps. What in what we have wall lashes, we have a spark plug gap, we have a head flatness, then thrust distance of a crankshaft, ignition point gap. There are a number of examples related to filler gauges. So timing I will directly show you the example, since it determines the clearances. Important target from this slide is clearances can be identified. Now what it is exactly, so if two engine cylinders are there, we can place a slip gauge block over here and then we can identify the gap. Then we have filler gauges in the form of wires. Then we can identify gaps of a spark plug. I told you as well, that is spark plug gap can be identified. So just to insert good example over here, 0.030 micron. So we have OMM, we have over here, insert the wire or insert the filler gauge and we can just gauge it. So that's why the name gauge is provided over here. This is one of the angular measuring instrument. Then filler gauges are also available in the form of blades with a thickness from 0.002 inches. Likewise it will vary. So thickness of each blade is etched on the other part. So this is the good example of which we can identify the dimensions. That means a small gaps over here in the engine walls, lashes are there. Likewise, so this was one of the slip gauge, and slip gauge instead I can say it's a filler gauge, and we can identify the gap in between. Then we have a piston ring with the piston cylinder and its gap can be identified. Then another type of angular measuring instrument we have telescopic gauge. So telescopic gauge is nothing but an instrument of a T-shape. It's simple T-shape instrument and used to set the dimensions, and then that set value can be transmitted to a instrument called micrometer and we can get the dimensions. It has some sort of spring loaded. How it looks like likewise. So this part, if we try to this bigger T type of a telescope gauge, we have a lock over here. If we will press this inside a cylinder, we can set the value and we can lock it by pressing. Then we'll have one value, just hold it inside a micrometer and we'll get the exact dimension of internal part. Then we have telescopic gauge which has a leg which is a rotatable handle to lock extension in place, and once gauge is removed, measure with the outside diameter. So likewise this one. So it's a telescopic gauge. We have set the value for any of the bore dimension and then that set value is pressed over here and it's fixed and then can be measured with the help of a micrometer. So these are the different parts. What we can say, plunger which is movable with a retractable spring. Then we have a handle with null part for handling purpose, and then we have a locking screw as I told. Then we have inside bore diameter micrometer. We can measure the bores of inside using the inside micrometers. So small holes can be measured with the help of these gauges. So this is the photograph which we can try to understand how we can go with the small gauges. Then we have a dial indicators. Most probably it will act as a comparator. It will just sense the comparator value. So there are different types for inside, outside and depth measurements also we can use the dial calipers. Then its list count is varying from 2 microns per 1 micron likewise. So dial indicator to check the components, then it can be used, it can be scaled, then phase can be balanced for continuous to check the run out likewise. So dial indicator application, if a machinist is there and if we have to set the alignment, maybe run out, radial or total, so a machinist can just check it. Then we have a pressure and a vacuum gauge. So pressure and vacuum gauge can be used. So pressure gauge is major amount of pressure applied to a closed or sealed system, then we have fitted in the pressure line with the appropriate fittings. Then we have vacuum gauges. Most probably we may have seen this maybe in the racing cars or maybe on a pressure vessel, maybe to check the pressure, to measure the speed likewise. So this all are related with the angular measurement. So this was all about our session related to angular measurements. So thank you, stay tuned for more sessions. Thank you.